Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Those Two Geeks. He's Alex, I'm Joe, and it's a new us, new year. Happy New Year, everybody. Let's go.
I love that you said it's a new us in a new year, and I'm thinking, is it? Is it a
It's
new
not
us?
it's not a new us. It's not a new
No,
us at all. This is
it
what
is a new year
happens
though.
when you wake up at, 10 minutes before showtime and your brain
Yep.
is just fried without coffee. But that's all right. So, in typical fashion, are we going to do anything new? No, we're not. It's going to be fly by the seat of our pants rules. And I didn't have a topic. You didn't have a topic. But I do have something I kind of wanted to discuss.
Yeah. I mean,
And
hey, that's as close to a topic for a non-topic show as we're gonna get.
so it's been out for a very long time. It's been maligned, and I finally had the chance to watch it. And I sat down and watched it the other day. And what I'm referring to is Joker 2 Folie.
How I've heard so many bad things about that, and it's one of those things that I keep meaning to watch, just haven't found the time to watch it.
Same, and I finally did. It's a movie that I hate and love at the same time.
Okay, so here's my question because I enjoyed Joker one.
Hmm.
It it was fine. It was what it was. I don't know if it was a
I thought it was a
great
masterpiece. I thought Joker 1 was a masterpiece.
I no, don't get me wrong. I really enjoyed it. I don't know if it was a great movie that fits within the Batman
No,
canon,
it
or if
doesn't.
it's just a great movie for what it was.
Yeah.
But I haven't heard the same kind of feeling about.
No, because it's not. The Joker 2 is definitely not. Don't try to
Okay,
fit it into Batman canon, except for the end, which they shoehorned into Batman canon, like the very, very end. And that's the director choosing to do it. And it's a very dumb choice. It's a
okay,
dumb,
what?
dumb choice. Oh, you don't mind if I spoil it?
Oh no, go ahead. Yeah, I don't care.
Okay, so what basically happens is Arthur, the whole movie is Arthur on trial for his crimes. Now, remember in Joker 1, where you didn't know, unless you pay attention very, very distinctly, what's taking place in his head and what's not?
Yeah,
Sometimes it's very hard to discern. Like, remember, it was revealed that Zazie Beetz, the neighbor, was never with him in the elevator or at the nightclub, or it was all in his fantasy.
I do. Yeah.
Okay. They do that like five more times here, but it's a little easier to follow what's in and what's not in Arthur's head because what's in Arthur's head is usually a musical number. There's about 11 musical numbers in this movie. They just break into song during the scene, and it's they're the only, meaning Lady Gaga, who plays Harley Quinn, and Joaquin Phoenix, who plays Arthur Fleck. They break into song mid scene. Their characters are the only ones singing.
So to me, that would be kind of funny and kind of fantastic that
I
it's
love it.
such so clearly a this is an artist's head. He's imagining it.
I love it. I love. Well,
I like the
say that
pause
because
there.
I shouldn't say that because there's a couple scenes where he is singing and it actually happened. So
Okay.
it's confusing. The movie struggles with pacing. That's why I hate it. I don't hate it because I hate the movie. I like the movie because it has a very interesting dissection. Um, but the pacing is abysmal. It is got to be the slowest thing this side of Andor. It is very, very slow. I mean, I was 35 minutes into it and I was like, wow, this is a good movie, but it's going by pretty fast. I'm at least an hour into it. And I clicked the pause button just to see how far I'm into it. I'm like, oh shit, I'm 35 minutes
Yeah.
in. There's another
Oh,
hour and 15.
oh shit!
Holy
This is still a
crap.
good. This is still a good movie. It's just taking
Yeah.
forever.
So, anyways, the end of the movie is Arthur's on trials with a Joker. He breaks out. He doesn't break out. He is broken out by terrorists who like sycophant terrorists who worship
Yeah.
him, break him out. And then he gets caught and comes back to jail again. And the movie ends with him. There's an inmate in this movie who is there the whole movie in the background mostly, and he's kind of like Arthur's sidekick. He seems to want to gain the favor of Arthur. He's
Hmm.
trying to get a laugh the whole movie. Like Arthur does jokes, he's trying to get a laugh. Well, what happens is Arthur's walking and he goes, Arthur, Arthur, I got a joke. Can I talk to you? And he's like, yeah, can you make it quick? I gotta go. I got a visitor. And he goes, I forget the joke. The joke was terrible. But then the punchline is, he goes, what's the punchline? He goes, you get what you fucking deserve. And he shivs Arthur like 50 times
Shit.
and kills him against the wall. I mean, he shivs him a lot.
Yeah.
It's to hammer home that Arthur's dead. He is straight dead. And what happens is that guy falls and starts laughing maniacally, and he takes the knife. He's in the background, but you see him taking the knife. He puts it in his mouth and carves it side to side, and he starts laughing maniacally. So it's the director's way of telling you that this is the Joker.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
It's
So,
fucking terrible.
yeah.
So it's either he's trying to shoehorn, and the kid is young too. So either he's trying to shoehorn Heath Ledger's
Hmm.
Joker or take inspiration from Heath Ledger's Joker. But the whole movie is Arthur goes to trial. He's in jail after Joker won. He doesn't like he's not living a life. He's just existing. He's very much a sad clown. He gets up every day, does the same thing. There's really no will in him. It's kind of like the Joker in Dark Knight Returns when you see him in jail before Batman Returns, where he's just like sitting there existing and nothing's going
Yep.
on. And finally, one of the cops, that's the day-to-day cops. Now, these cops in Arkham are assholes. They beat the inmates, all kinds of shit. They're just horrible
Yeah.
people. So, but one of the cops took a liking to Arthur, and it's this very Irish cop with a very over-the-top brogue. And I'm like, oh, of course it would be. Of
Of
course it
course.
would be
Why,
this
why,
fucking
why would it not be? Yeah.
ridiculous Irish cop. I'm like, fine. So takes him to a music class, and in the music class he meets Lee. Lee is Harley Quinn, and she is smitten with him immediately, and Arthur is smitten with her too. Because
Yeah.
that's the thing. Arthur's very simple. He just wants love, blah blah blah, and so he's smitten with her. Now, I will preface it by this: Lady Gaga is fantastic. She is fantastic in her role as this Harley Quinn. This is not Harley Quinn. If you want a encapsulation or a depiction of Harley Quinn from the comic books, Margot Robbie is your girl, and she'll never be topped. Margot Robbie is the girl. But this version of Harley Quinn, I think Lady Gaga does a fantastic, fantastic
It,
job.
I feel like I'm not surprised that Lady Gaga does a great job because I feel like
No,
she's
oh,
great at what she does. And
she's a great actress too. I enjoy
yeah,
her very much.
and that's what I mean. Like she's really good at what she does, regardless of what it is.
Yeah,
It it may not be the Harley Quinn that we're accustomed to seeing through the
not at
animated
all.
series, Margot Robbie, but that doesn't again. Like, I wouldn't consider Arthur's Joker or Arthur
It's
Fleck to be
not.
the Joker we know, but that
No.
doesn't make it an interesting and compelling character all the same.
Here's the thing, and it does make it very interesting. This makes it like a very black label DC comic to me. This is how I put it. I put it as if this
Hmm.
was a black label story that got adapted. That's the way it feels.
Yeah.
There was a book called Harleen for Black Label years ago, and I feel like Lady Gaga's Harley is ripped from Harleen very closely. Where it's not that, gee, Mr. J. She doesn't have the stupid, I shouldn't say stupid, but she doesn't have the quintessential New York accent or Jersey accent.
Yeah.
She does not have that. She has a very slight Jersey accent, very, very slight. But It's I think she's also from that area in real life.
I
So
think
like
it's probably her genuine accent, right?
yeah, yeah, so she's good. But she tells Arthur that she's a fan of him. She loves what he's doing. She looks up to him, and he's like, "What are you in here for?" She's like, "Oh, I set fire to my parents' building, and I killed them, put them on fire." And no, no, no. No. She doesn't say she killed them. She set fire to their parents' apartment building, and then one of them died. I forget which one. She goes, one of them died, and then Arthur. Oh yeah, yeah. Her father died. She killed her father, and she
Hmm.
left her mother alive by accident. And then she goes, "What about you?" She goes, "I know that you're in here, but what about you?" And he goes, "I killed 6 people." And he's just like very humdrum when he talks. He's just like, "I killed 6 people." Like, and she's like, "Oh," and he goes, "Yeah, one on TV." And then he goes, "Well, no one knows, but I killed my mother, and no one knows about that. So she's number 6." And she's like, "Huh?" And he goes, I smothered her with a pillow." And she looks at him and she's smoking a cigarette and she goes, "I should have fucking did that to my mom." It's like great because, her mom lived and she goes, "My mom got me put in here and committed." And she's like, she lived through it. She goes, "I should have fucking did that to my mom." That was great. And this movie though, I gotta warn you, not a cigarette smoker. This movie makes you want to smoke cigarettes. I have never seen a movie because I smoke cigarettes from time to time. I ended up buying a pack
Yeah.
of cigarettes after this fucking movie, um, and I haven't bought one in probably like 5, 6, 7, 8 months, whatever that. I usually smoke like 1 or 2 cigarettes or a cigar. But this movie is chain smoking at its finest. Every single character has a butt in its mouth. And the only thing I can say is it's the 80s, and it reminds me of when you're watching Ghostbusters, and
Everyone's got a
everybody's
cigarette.
got a cigarette
I
laying out of their mouth.
I actually think that makes sense, right?
Well, it's
Like
the
in
80s. It's
yeah,
firmly in the 80s.
exactly.
Yeah. So basically, they talk about, Arthur's going, Harvey Dent is prosecuting Arthur. I will say this, I hated Harvey Dent. I thought his character was so bland. And that's the thing. It just Todd Phillips puts a lot of name people in there just to put them in there, but they don't represent the character. And that's
Yeah.
what I hate. Is like he either, you either want this Batman or you don't want this Batman. And it's like just having the guy named Harvey Dent is stupid because the guy acts nothing like Harvey Dent. And it's like, I didn't like that. But Arthur basically becomes famous again. Now, while he was in jail, they filmed a TV movie about him, but obviously he got no residuals or proceeds or anything. Brady, go lie down. He basically, he's a nobody. But now this
Yeah.
resurgence, when he goes to trial, it's a filmed trial. It's the first like filmed trial in Gotham. So Arthur plays into it because now he's famous again. People want to talk about him, and he's got, you got the protesters outside, and you got all this and that. And what happens is he's being idolized. And I will say this is a very interesting human experiment. And this whole long winded point of me bringing this up today. Now, there are people on different sides of this aisle. I know where I firmly stand. Idolizing a killer, to me, outside of an entertainment value, outside of like a movie or a comic book where the character is a character going on a different journey, for me, idolizing like say Son of Sam or anything like that is fucking wrong. It's wrong. It's inherently wrong because murder is murder and we shouldn't idolize murder. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
However,
It's funny.
however,
I think I know where you're going with it.
I know where I'm going with it.
Yeah.
However, I found myself with there was a time where Arthur was doing his shtick or his what's it called? His defense. And it was like a shtick too. But one of the victim's parents reach over and grab him and go, "Stop laughing, you fucking asshole," and starts punching him and beating him. And I found myself angry at the character who grabbed him. And I'm like, you fuck, what a dick that guy is. And then I had to pause. And I literally paused the movie and said, holy shit. this dude's a serial killer, and I was just defending him. So I thought it was a very interesting human relation that even someone as I, who know if this was real life and Arthur Fleck existed, I would be firmly against Arthur Fleck.
Yeah.
I would be like, this guy deserves the chair. Fuck him.
Yeah.
But in the movie, in the moment, I was like angry that the guy grabbed him.
I
And
think that
I'm like,
probably stems from a couple of things.
yeah,
Sorry. I think that part of it is, you're empathizing with the character. He's a lead character. The whole
yes,
movie is
yes,
probably designed to get you to feel bad
it
for him
is.
in that moment.
Correct.
And I think the other part is that because I know you enough to know that you've got a strong sense of like right and wrong,
Yeah,
and regardless of if the guy beating Arthur Fleck's reaction is justified, if it's like I understand
yeah,
why he'd be doing it. It's
sure.
still
I do too. If this
it's
was real
still
life, it would be a totally different story for me.
absolutely. And yet at the same time, like, well, that's still illegal. Like you still can't just reach over and beat someone. Like if you're gonna afford a vigilante justice, then where exactly do you draw the line?
Right?
So I
Yeah.
think and the irony of me saying that and still loving Batman for being
I
exactly
was about to
that,
say that, and me
right?
about to read the Gray Coats today.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Like it's one of those things where I think in that moment, because there isn't an established, there isn't a Batman's a hero. This
yeah.
guy is reacting and he's
Well, it's his
doing
family
like,
member, so he's grabbing him,
yeah.
and I would probably do the same, to be honest with you.
Well, that's just it. Like, I'm not saying I would do anything differently. However,
Yeah.
I understand why people would be like, "Oh, that's a bit. You probably shouldn't have beat someone in a courtroom." Like, you're
No, but for
right.
me, it's the whole idolization. It's the whole
Yeah.
empathizing with the serial killer. And I was like, huh. I took a pause back because, as I told you and Matthew, I immerse myself into a
Hmm.
viewing experience when I watch something. I'm in a courtroom when I'm watching that. That's the way I watch. And I was like, now let's extrapolate that and think of these people who in my country before Christmas there was a CEO that was gunned down
Hmm.
in the street. And we've got these fucking people who are like idolizing this guy.
It's
And
funny. I understand why they're idolizing him too.
I understand because they blame. So if you look at it from, and I'm going to say this is, I don't care how this sits, it's fucking wrong. Murder is wrong. I don't give a shit where you're idolizing it. Murder is wrong because, yes, if you treat it on the head that this guy represents a symbol of all that is broken in healthcare and what people go through because of healthcare. Yeah, I get where you're coming from. But here's my thing. How do you, the person who feels that way, know that this guy is a direct symbol of that? This guy is a guy who's part of a corporation. Did this guy, you know, decline claims on his own? Like, did he physically do something that caused these people?
I
Like,
don't.
that's the thing that I have a problem with. And if so, shouldn't it be handled a different way rather than walking down the street with a silencer and just shooting him in the back?
So
Like,
here's another question for you to put it in a different way.
you know,
I think the guy was responsible for the policy because United Healthcare, and again, like I'm from a country where I don't have to deal with this kind of shit,
yeah, of course.
but United Healthcare has the highest percentage of claim rejections
Yes,
because
I
they go
understand
through
that.
an algorithm. It's like, no, 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 right? So yes, this guy was responsible for instituting a policy that had that would automatically decline things. I don't know if he did it specifically claim by claim.
Right. I don't think
And
so. I don't think a
I
CEO has time to go
I
through it
don't
claim by
no
claim,
no,
to
and
be
I
honest.
don't think so. I don't think so either. But I
And
think
I
that
don't think he might have instituted the policy, but I don't even think it came from him. It's not like he wrote the policy. I highly doubt that. It's a
I
corporation that was a mandate,
which
most
is
likely.
which is true, but the mandate's got to come from somewhere, and the CEO is at the end of the day the end of the line, right? Like they're the ones who have to be, if not
Yeah.
the figurehead, the final decision. So I understand why people hated him for that.
Get that.
I
It's a real slippery slope, though. This
it,
is like
oh,
talking about like
100%. Like I'm
if,
not saying I
oh, we start
condone or
hating
condemn.
gas prices, do we start shooting, gas attendants or gas managers because
I
we
mean
don't like
the manage
prices?
Well, no, and I think that's a totally different thing. But when it
Foolish
comes,
logic.
because that's going to impact everyone, like
Yeah.
worldwide, right? Whereas healthcare, especially in your country where it
Well,
is
it impacts everyone
so
in our
insurance,
country.
exactly, right? And
Yeah.
so when you've got someone who has no answer, they've got no recourse, is why is my claim denied, and they're going broke because they can't afford it. I
Yeah.
understand where that anger comes from,
I
and
do too. I
and
understand that.
he's at that point he's like, you know what, I'm done. I'm gonna go make a statement. And I don't like, I remember reading when once it happened, Medivie Blue Cross changed a policy that was wildly unpopular in terms of how much
Yeah.
anesthetic that you're allowed to have
Right.
in an operation. And I think they changed it in part because they saw the reaction of people who didn't condemn Luigi Mangione for what he did,
Hmm.
allegedly or not. They didn't condemn him for that. And when people started celebrating, and all of a sudden people were like, "Oh, wow, people hate us for what we're doing to try
Yeah.
and essentially make shareholders money. People hate us for doing that." So, I
So,
mean, it's one of
I,
those things where, right or wrong, what he did had an immediate, tangible effect in that policy being reversed, whether they officially claim that they
my
reversed it
whole
because
thing
of
is
him
we
or
can
not.
call him Arthur because he's a fraud too. He's not some downtrodden guy who was affected by the system. He's a little rich prick who lives in Hawaii and, has rich grandpapa and just decided to want to be liked. And that's what happened.
And
That's
that's
what he
just it,
did.
right? Like that's, and I think there are people that have seen that and like, oh, but he doesn't want to be rich. He wants to be one of us, and he's coming to fight the problem. It's like you
Yeah,
said, it's a slippery
it's a
slope no
joke.
matter which way you go for it.
Those
Again, like I
people, if
don't.
they think he wants to fight the fight, they're fools. He
Oh,
wants to be famous.
I think there's a definite element of both for sure. I think that ultimately it's one of those things where it's if nothing else, it spurred a conversation. But I don't think a man should have had to die
Right.
for that conversation. Regardless of what I thought about him as a person and what I've learned about him and the policies from the company, regardless of that,
Hmm.
no one should have had to die for this conversation to happen.
I agree. That's
And
where I am at.
the
Yeah.
unfortunately, it seems that no matter what had happened up until this point, the right people weren't listening, or the conversation wasn't happening because,
Right. No, I agree with
right,
that too.
it's one of those things where we all know the sky is blue, and certain things are bad, etc. But until
My whole
something
thing is
drastic
if you
happens,
condone that, where does that end? Where
exactly,
does that end?
and that's just it. Now, like I said, I'm not condoning it. I'm not condemning it. It
I'm
happened,
condemning it. I'm sorry. That's where
and
I stand.
no, and that's fine. Like I'm not saying, I shouldn't say I don't condemn it. I don't
I
condemn
condemn
the
it because
fact
there's another way. There's another way. It,
there is, and I think the thing is that when it comes down to what happened, part of me wonders, like, if there was another way, has that had that already been exhausted? Did
yeah.
there
No,
need to
I
be
get that.
a drastic thing that happened to get the conversation started
Like it's
again?
funny. I'm very much a Batman fan. Very,
Yeah,
very much. Batman I adore. But when it comes down to it, my morals on it lie in a Superman sort of way.
yeah,
Like
I
I'm
get it.
always going to be Superman, on that where
It's
there's got to be another way. There's got to
and
be another way.
oh, I agree. I think that it would have been far better to have found another way.
Yeah, great.
I just don't think that people knew what that other way was, and
Sure.
that was a choice that was taken. It
Yeah.
it's awful that someone had to die for the conversation to
Yeah.
start, but now that the
So,
conversation started,
yeah.
I'm hoping
And
that
to not
we're able to make
not
healthcare more accessible for folks in your country.
yeah, but to not turn and pivot from that
Yeah,
conversation, which is an uncomfortable one. Kind of why
100%.
I didn't want to mention his name, but it's fine.
Yeah,
The whole thing is, so Arthur, he starts having his trial. Harley Lee, she bolsters him. She tries to get him to, be himself. She falls in love with him. He falls very madly in love with her. Now, his defense lawyer is like, dude, she, his defense lawyer tells him, she goes, you got to drop her. She's killing you out there. And he's like, Lee's the only one who cares for me. She's a person like me. She grew up, she used to walk down those steps to go to school where I live, blah, blah, blah. And the fucking lawyer goes, no, she didn't. Did she tell you that she lives on the Upper East Side, that her father's a doctor, that both her parents are still alive? And Arthur, this version of the Joker is not the nihilistic psychopath who doesn't care what people think and would rip this woman's heart out just for talking to him. This version of the Joker is very much a neurotic, insecure human being who does things based on what other people think.
Mm-hmm.
He so desperately wants to be loved and cared for by others that this rips him, this kills him. Like he's like, no, no, you're lying. He thinks, of course, they make the Joker play the simp for Harley in this, which is a very interesting twist because what happens in regular continuity? Harley plays the simp for Joker. Harley is usually these things. She's an aristocrat. She's of, of higher means. She's intelligence. She's accomplished, and she throws it all away to be with a guy who is a psychopath in regular continuity. You know what I mean? And in this version, she's still very much of those things, but she throws it away to be in control of the guy, what she wants. She doesn't see Arthur Fleck. She sees the Joker.
She
And
sees the symbol.
exactly. And what happens is Arthur gets mad and he confronts her and he goes, are you? And he goes, did you lie? And she goes, sure. And he goes, what? And she goes, sure, we all lie. She's like, we lie. She's like, yeah, my dad's alive. Yeah, my mom's alive. Yeah, I live on the Upper East Side. And like, he's like, why would you lie to me type of thing? And she's like, why would you care? You're a bigger thing. You've done things with your life. I've done nothing. You're a symbol, basically.
Mm-hmm.
She goes, do you think these people are here for Arthur Fleck? All these crowds are here. She's like, they're here for the Joker, not for Arthur Fleck. And Arthur realizes that. And so he goes, okay, I want to go to trial, but I want to go to trial dressed as the Joker. And the judge is like, I looked high and low, and he goes, I found no law that says he can't represent himself dressed as the Joker. He goes, so in the interest of not making this more of a circus that it already is, he's like, let the show go on. And the Joker, Arthur, like, does the best thing I could say is he does like an impression of, if you've ever seen My Cousin Vinny.
Yep.
All right, he does the prosecutor who, I wouldn't be, I'm scared if I were you, Yankee, that guy. I forget his name, but he played Perry White in Lois and Clark.
Oh yeah, yeah, I know who you mean.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So he's like, Mr. Puddles. He's like, Johanna is like, it's funny as fuck. So Arthur is actually quite intelligent, though. It's the strangest thing. They call him a simpleton and all that, but he's quite intelligent. And he does everything. But what happens is he's representing himself and he's making some points. And then what happens is he talks about the police officers and, in Arkham, the fat guards who like mistreat people and all this and that and what a piece of shit they are. Well, the trial is over for the day. He still has to go back to Arkham. So those guards who watch the trial because it's broadcast grab him and beat the living shit out of him, and they sexually assault him too. And so what happens is they throw him in the hole, and they throw him in his cell rather, and he's just a beaten, broken man. He goes from being this, charismatic, live symbol to just being a very scared child type of thing. So the next day he goes back, and it's his final closing argument. So the judge is like, my God, please let this be over. You know what I mean? The judge hates the fact that this is being broadcast and all that because it's a mockery. So Arthur's still the Joker. He's dressed as the Joker. And he grabs a stool and a microphone off the mic stand. He rips the mic stand off and grabs a stool and goes over to the jury and sits down. And he's like, the judge starts banging the gavel. He goes, this is not a nightclub. This is not a nightclub. You know what I mean? And
Yep.
he's
Yep.
like, Ah, shit, I see no reason that you can't represent yourself in this way. Proceed. And so he proceeds. Arthur talks, and instead of trying to convince the jury why he shouldn't die, or because he's going to get the death penalty for this, he flat out tells him, he goes, I killed 6 people. He goes from being the Joker to just being Arthur. He goes, I killed 6 people. He's like, and I wish I could sit here and tell you that it was all for a higher cause and because it was a big thing that, my purpose. But he's like, the bottom line is, I did it. They were mean. I was weak, and I highly regret what I did. He's like, I regret doing it. And he's like, yes, I killed 6 people. My mother's on there. You can go look it up later. And the judge is kind of like, oh shit, he killed another one. So like everyone's just like, what? He killed 6? I thought we killed 5. So he starts kind of crying and like breaking down because he's like, the truth of the matter is, he's like, I just wanted to be liked. He's like, I'm no leader. I'm no, you know, I'm no great anything to be worshipped. I'm just a man, and I made mistakes, and I wish I didn't make those mistakes. Now, all his supporters in the crowd just kind of drop, and he's like, the bottom line is, he's like, I'm Arthur. There is no Joker. And so everyone gets up and walks out of the courtroom. You see this courtroom go down to like a nub, and Lee walks out too. So that's where she only gave a shit about the Joker and not Arthur.
Yeah.
She walks out, and Arthur is giving his closing speech, and all of a sudden, the bomb goes off and blows out the side of the wall of the courtroom, and it's filmed very well, very very well. The bomb goes off. You see the bomb. You see smoke. And a few minutes later, you see rubble. You see Arthur stirring through the rubble, but a lot of people are very much dead. I think the judge is dead. Like so many people are dead. You just see everything, just like people did not live. Arthur lives, but like when you see in movies and like you hear that ringing in your ears type of thing where you hear white noise but you can't hear anything else. That's what Arthur has for a while, is like that white noise that he can't hear anything. These 2 guys dressed in clown suit, Joker clown suits, come and grab him, and he can't hear them, but they're like, yeah. Well, they take him and save him and throw him in the back of their like Buick, and they're just like chanting. They're like, "You get what you fucking deserve." Like they're happy because they broke Arthur out. Basically, they broke him out to lead them, and Arthur's sitting there and he's listening to them talk while he's in the back seat lying down trying to get his hearing back. And they're talking about, oh, this is great. We have the Joker. We're gonna have a bigger position now. We're gonna have a bigger purpose. Blah blah blah. And Arthur just realizes how crazy this all is. So he rolls out of the car at the stop, and he just starts running like Forrest Gump, like he did in the first movie. If you remember, he just ran.
Yeah.
So he runs. These other guys run after him, but they get hit by police cars. So you just see them go, poof, ah, and then they're gone. The police don't catch Arthur. Where does Arthur go? Where do you think?
I
He
feel like
runs.
I
Well, what would make sense? You've seen the first movie. Where would he
yeah.
go?
See, I would think he'd either go home or he'd go to Wayne Manor.
So he went home. He goes to those iconic long stairs.
That's what I was thinking would be the stairs.
It's exactly. So he goes to the stairs. Now we know it because we've seen the movie, right?
Yeah.
But people in that world, why would you think this guy would go to the stairs? Why would you have an inkling? You'd be like, oh, that's what it. This is another jump in logic that I think Todd Phillips. I'm sitting there going, that doesn't make sense. Like, why the fuck
Yeah,
would they?
yeah, it
But
makes sense to us as the audience because you've seen him
yeah,
on the
of course,
stairs
because
doing the
we're in.
dance. But
Yeah,
if
we're in the
he's never brought
POV.
up the stairs
Right.
before,
He's never
why
brought up
would
the
he go
stairs.
there? Like, there's no logical explanation for you and I or detectives. Oh, he's gonna go to the stairs and sit there or whatever he does.
He brought the stairs up to one person. Well, the stairs brought up to him was Lee who brought it up to him.
Mm.
So sure as shit, you go to the stairs, you see Lee smoking at the top of the stairs in like very, disheveled clown makeup, angry. And he goes, "Hey, I broke out. We can be together now. We're gonna build a mountain out of a build a mountain out of a little hill." That's a song that goes through the movie, which is really, really good, by the way. And he looks at her, he goes, "Did you hear what I said? We're gonna go." And she's like, "No, we're not, Arthur. We're not going anywhere." And he goes, "What? I love you." And she goes, "Yeah, okay. I don't love you." And he's like, "I don't understand." He's like, "This whole thing," and because this is how simple Arthur is. She goes, "All we had was the fantasy. And you broke it. We were never going anywhere. We were never leaving. All we had was the fantasy, and you broke it. There's no Joker, you said. Isn't that what you said?" And he just like, he didn't realize that she only loved him for the Joker, and if she loved him at all. And then she's like, "Goodbye, Arthur," and she walks out and leaves. But what happens as she leaves? Two cruisers come to the convergence on the stairs right at that time. Now, they couldn't find him the whole fucking time he burst out, but they found him right there. So that's my problem. But
Eh,
now thinking about what I told you, I think Lee tipped off the
I was
police.
gonna say it to me. It sounds like Lee probably tipped them off to a certain extent, saying, "Hey,
It
you're gonna
has to be.
find him here." Like that's the only way I
Right,
can
because
think
otherwise
about it.
it's a jump in logic that makes no
It's
sense. That the
yeah,
cops would be like, "Let's go check the stairs,"
yeah.
you know?
Whereas if she says, "Hey, I think he's gonna be here," and then
So, in Todd Phillips fashion, though, this could also be a whole movie an entire movie that was in his head, like an entire movie that was in his head,
yeah,
because the next scene is Arthur back in Arkham Hospital, but it's the exact same scene that started the movie where he's dressed a certain way and he's watching Looney Tunes. It's the exact same cartoon that he was
mm,
watching at the beginning of the movie. So this could also be a Todd Phillips thing of he just constructed this entire grandiose scenario in his movie for, you know, 2.5 hours that I watched, and it was nothing. But he ends up getting shivved right after that. So my whole thing is it did happen, but for a guy who just broke out of prison, I mean broke out of a courthouse, I don't think they'd be allowing him to sit in the regular mess hall
I
watching
wouldn't,
TV.
I
I
wouldn't
think he
have
would,
thought so.
yeah, so I'm now leaning towards I thought the movie happened. I'm leaning towards the movie never happened.
And honestly, that's the kind of thing that I enjoy. Like, yes, I know we've talked about the movie and you've given me the ins and outs of it, but I
Yeah, big time.
enjoy being able to watch it, something like that, with that foreknowledge. So I don't know if you've heard of a show called The Mole.
No, but I've heard
It
of Dallas where this originated years ago, where
okay,
J.R. Ewing, it was all a dream. And they've taken that trope and burned it to death thousands of times.
one
It,
hundred percent.
and that's what it
So
feels like again.
I was watching a show. It's on Netflix,
Yep.
and it's called The Mole. And basically, the premise is going to sound similar to a bunch of other shows, I'm sure. But
Hmm.
the premise is that there's 12 contestants. One of them is there just to sabotage, right?
Yeah.
Like they just want to sabotage it. And throughout the course of the show, you've got people trying to work together to increase the part at the end of what one person walks away with.
Hmm.
And then every episode, you have people who've got to take a quiz on who you think the mole is. If you get the most wrong answers, then then you're eliminated.
Hmm.
So no one knows who the mole is. Like the host doesn't know. There's
Oh, it's a
three
game
people.
show?
Oh yeah, it's like a game show. So there's like three people on the production team that know, and obviously the mole themselves. But
Hmm.
the audience doesn't know. So you're watching it. You're trying to figure out who is the mole, and then the flip side is because the contestants don't know, and in order to get eliminated, you've got to get the questions wrong. Some of them are like, I'm gonna make myself look suspicious. So they start trying to throw challenges and cost the group money,
Mm.
and then obviously like, wait. are you the mole, or are you trying to throw someone off, or are you just
Are
incompetent?
you the werewolf? I'm not the werewolf, I swear.
That's exactly what it is. So I was watching it. I'm like, I am positive that this person's the mole, and then they get eliminated. I'm like, well, shit, they were just useless.
Hmm.
And it kind of reminds me of that to an extent. What you were saying, that people are going to try and sabotage something regardless of what it is. So how Arthur or the movie does or doesn't happen.
Hmm.
I My point that I finally get around to making is,
Hmm.
when it comes down to that kind of movie, like The Usual Suspects, where you watch it once and you can watch it again, it's a different experience.
Yeah.
I think that, knowing what I know about the Joker 2 now, I'll still be able to watch it and enjoy it, and I'll be trying to work out, is this really happening, or is this
Yeah, I
a
think please watch it and tell me if you can work
yeah,
out if it's really
like
happening.
and I think it's a different way of watching a movie. Would it, like, essentially what you've done is, you've instead of me watching it for the first time in the same shoes as you, you've given me a head start. So to liken it to you, like, I'd be watching it for my second time, knowing more or less what's going on.
Hmm.
So again, like, I'm still going to watch it. It's just I'll watch it with slightly different eyes to
Yeah.
get out of the
Watch it for the
story.
performances. That's all I can say.
And
And she
honestly,
outshines him big time.
I was going to say Joaquin Phoenix was fantastic as Arthur Fleck, and I was going
Oh
to watch it for
yeah,
Joaquin Phoenix and
Gaga.
Lady Gaga anyway.
He
So
is. He is
have
fantastic.
I actually started watching Gladiator 2 the other day.
Oh, with what's it called, Denzel?
Yes,
What a
it,
weird casting choice to put him in there.
honestly, I'm not. I don't find it so weird that Denzel is there. I find it weirder that he just has his regular accent.
Yes, that's my problem.
It's
That's
not.
my
I
problem.
have nothing against, like,
Oh,
Denzel
Denzel's
being
one of
in,
my favorite actors.
absolutely, and nothing
But the
against him
fact
being
that
like,
he's still there as like contemporary Denzel
I
in a
know
time frame where everyone else is not. That's what
it's
bothers
and
me.
it like I think what's weirdest about it isn't that I think, if, like, with Kevin
It's
Costner in Prince of Thieves, they didn't even bother with accents. And I think
yeah, yeah.
if you're gonna commit to it,
Hmm.
like, have a bad accent. That's fine. Like, if you're gonna have,
Yeah.
oh, hey, we're gonna have, like, French influenced accents, English accents, whatever,
Yeah.
or do what Kevin Costner did. We're just not gonna bother because I can't do it. So you get um, Will
So
Scarlett
funny.
also with an American, and again, honestly, I'm fine with that,
I
because
think that's
it doesn't
stupid,
take me
but
out if everyone's got if no one has an accent.
yeah.
Like, if everyone's got, like, we're just gonna do whatever we're gonna do, I'm fine with that. But if there's one person that doesn't do it, it's like, wait, what?
It's just Denzel. It's
It,
I saw that in the trailer alone, and I'm like, what? Why? Like
yeah,
he could be Denzel from like
the
um
Equalizer. Well,
The Equalizer. Yeah.
it could. I would say he was a different. Like, if the
Well,
character
in
felt different in
Equalizer, he was
Equalizer, but
so subdued in
yeah,
Equalizer.
so
But
subdued. Like
Training
Training
Day.
Day.
Yeah,
Yeah,
see, we thought about it immediately. That's what I thought I saw. I thought I saw Gladiator Denzel from Training Day, and I'm like, what the
yeah. This is bizarre and
this
weird.
is bonkers. I gotta go check it out.
Yep. And that's just it. Like, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed what I haven't finished it yet. I enjoyed the parts I've seen, but yeah, it was something.
So I figured this would be an interesting dissection just because of
Sure.
the way the character made me feel in that one scene. And when you see that in the courtroom, like you get swept up in it. But then I
Hmm.
started thinking of, well, I get swept up because it's a movie and I'm invested in the character. I don't feel like I would have the same sentiments in real life. Like when I watch The Sopranos, I root for Tony Soprano. I want Tony to win. You know,
It's
and they call him an anti-hero. He's not a fucking anti-hero. In Sopranos, he's a murdering psychopath.
and I think this actually goes back to. Well, I'm not going to rehash it. I think it goes
No.
back to the previous discussion we were having, where, because I was thinking about it after we were talking about it, right? Where you were
Yeah.
think, I think that it's one thing to root for the villain when you're watching an entertainment piece,
Yes.
entirely different when it's real life.
Yeah,
But
best
I
way to
think
put it.
that with the way that news media cover things,
Yeah.
so many people were treating what was happening as entertainment, and I think that's where
Yes.
the rooting for the villain really is what
They are
came out.
rooting
And
for them. Yeah.
and like I said, while I'm happy that the discussions are happening, I don't think it should have the root cause
Yeah.
should have been something
Yeah, and
drastically
it's
different.
the same thing. It's like, what do we always talk about? Wrestling. And what do
Hmm.
I always talk about? The heels. They're
Exactly.
always much more interesting to watch than, the white meat baby faces that I'm just like, ugh, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But yeah, you laugh because it's so accurate.
it's
Like
so
I love
accurate.
Kevin Owens, but I'm just like, ugh, everyone. No, and I love Cody Rhodes, but man, I'm gonna love
Cody,
Cody
Cody,
Rhodes so much more when he goes heel. I cannot
Cody
wait till he
Rhodes
goes heel.
is a fantastic baby face to
He's the
chase a championship.
Yeah, to have one, no,
It's why I
and
think that MJF starting as a heel, becoming face, losing
yeah,
it, and reverting again works so well because
it
he
does.
has that journey. Whereas when you have a true face champion, it's very difficult to have any kind of compelling chase for the villain, right? Like
I will
or
say there's
defense.
only been one face that was always interesting as the champion and better as the champion than the chase. Only one face in the company that I've ever seen in the history of WWE from me. No, maybe two, two. But one is Hulk Hogan,
I was gonna say one's gonna be Hulk Hogan, but I don't know who the other one is.
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Was Stone
I
Cold
could
Steve
have,
Austin a face
I
though, or was he a tweener?
he was a tweener, but like he more of the good guy than the bad guy.
Yeah,
He had bad guys facing him for the
but I
title.
think
That's what I'm
that
saying.
yeah, and I think that's where it works is that Steve Austin is a tweener. He had bad guys facing him, but he could still act a bit of a heel in certain
But
matches
even that,
if it
there's no
required.
one else that could do that because let's call
No,
The Rock a tweener too. The Rock was a
yeah.
tweener too. Everyone in the Attitude Era was a tweener. You were either
Oh,
a bad guy or a
100%.
tweener.
Yeah.
No one else was as interesting as Austin. Like I could have had Austin have a 3-year title run and I would have been okay with it.
Hmm.
Like I loved other characters, like I love other superstars, but when they went against Stone Cold Steve Austin, I was like, no, fuck that. Stone Cold's my guy. I want Stone Cold to keep that belt. Like
Yeah.
I'd be mad. I hate turned on anyone who went against Stone Cold. And I find that really interesting that Austin's the only one I feel about that way. Whereas everyone else, it's like, okay, this guy's had the belt for 2 months. I'm okay for it to be gone now.
I
You know what
I
I
think
mean? Like, I'm all right for this to be gone now.
and
Like,
I
Cody, I
think
love
that
you, but I want you to lose the belt.
I think that and we've said it before, when it comes to I love the sudden transition. But
Oh, I know.
when it comes to it's different in like real sports where you have a champion holding a belt because they're good. But when it's a sports entertainment,
Yep.
I find that a long championship reign, especially when there's multiple going on at once, there's more to harm the other stars than it does to
Yeah.
build up the main star. Like
Unless you're a heel because you're designed to be chased.
exactly, like Gunter as the champion work as a long running champion works so much better than Cody Rhodes as a
Oh,
long
yeah.
running champion. Like I don't want I was hoping Cody would be trying to get the belt back by WrestleMania
I would too. I was hoping
or
that
the
they would give
Rumble.
it to
But
Kevin. I was hoping
yeah,
they would gonna legit give it to Kevin. But what I
because
see now is Kevin has it without having it.
yeah,
And he'll have it till the Rumble, which is another 4 weeks. What I think what I would prefer, and I don't know, I haven't watched 3 Hour SmackDown from last night yet. What I would prefer is what they do is treat Kevin, or Kevin is delusional and treats himself as a champion
hmm,
and starts booking defenses of the title while Cody is defending at the same time. I
that
think
would be
that would be
brilliant.
fucking amazing, but I
That
don't
would
think
be
they'll do it.
brilliant. Yeah.
So what's going to happen is they're doing a ladder match at Royal Rumble to unify the two belts, which is hilarious because kayfabe wise, Kevin's belt one night only a tribute to yesteryear, where Cody's belt is the legit belt, but they're doing it so Cody can win both belts and be the undisputed champion. The only reason I'm so for it, is because I know what's going to happen. Is we're going to get an amalgamation of the two titles as a
Hmm.
new belt,
Yeah.
like they did with the world title and the WWE title. They merged it into Gunther's title that looks suspiciously a lot like the WCW title, but with WWE accoutrements.
Hmm.
They're going to do the same for the Winged Eagle, and we're going to get back the best looking belt in wrestling. It will still be the Winged Eagle, but it will be
slightly different.
modernized. My only worry is, and my cousin brought this up last night, and I will flip out if this happens. He's like, "What if they have to put a Netflix logo on it?" I'll be so bullshit if there's like a red N anywhere near these belts. I'll be so mad. I'm hoping
Yeah,
not,
I hope not.
because the WWE's logo now is the WWE Network logo. That
Yep,
very sharp, angulated double
W.
W. Yeah, I'm like, oh my God, if they have to plaster like a big old
Like,
N, red
is
N,
that
oh, that'd be
and
horrible.
help me understand here? So that W, I always thought that was just a general WWE logo that they then use for the WWE network. Did the
No, that
network
was
come
the
first?
100. The network came first,
Okay.
and that was because when The Rock had the belt before the belt that we have now, when The Rock had his final title reign, the belt design still looked the same. It still looked like a Super Bowl ring, but The Rock's W was the scratchy Attitude Era WW.
That's right. Okay. I was thinking it was still
And
the same for some reason.
no, this network with the swoosh underneath it, like Nike, has been the network logo. So as soon as the network debuted in WrestleMania 30, they had Brock Lesnar was the champion at that time. Towards the middle of the year, they designed a new belt with this logo, and this logo has been on every belt ever since.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, that WWE. Yep. I see
But
what you
it's
mean.
still in house, so I'm like, why would they have? It's not Netflix
Yeah.
entertainment; it's WWE entertainment on Netflix. So my hope is they
What
still can have
what
that,
color is Cody Rhodes, the actual leather of the belt? Is it red or blue, or is it black?
black.
Okay. Because I never get the I always struggle with the differentiation
Yeah, because
between
they
the.
tried they tried to make the Romans the SmackDown one at one point was blue, and then the Raw
Yeah.
one that Seth had was red. Then they went back to the Raw one being black and the SmackDown one being blue, and then they went to the SmackDown one being gold. They just don't know what they're doing with the colors.
No,
It's so
and I
ridiculous.
think that's the issue I have with the belts is that
Made a good boy.
it's very hard to tell which one is with which if you're just looking at it,
Yeah,
or which one is supposed to be more. I know that they're meant to be the same, but let's face it,
yeah,
one of them is more prestigious than the other
yeah.
one.
And then here's the ironic part: is they're going to be flip flopping those belts
Yeah,
because Cody is very much getting traded to Raw. Cody's going to go to Raw when Netflix starts. Like probably after the Rumble, Cody will be officially Raw, and Gunther
yeah,
will spew SmackDown. Because like you said, let's face it, the men's are supposed to be equal, but Cody is considered the true champion of the company, and
hmm
Gunther would be 1A,
yeah.
and that's what's going to happen. And it's just like, okay,
I would
because
love it so much if Gunther beat Cody though.
yeah, well, I was hoping that was going to happen at Crown Jewel. That's what
What
should have happened.
what happened at Crown Jewel? Did Cody win?
Cody won clean.
Like,
No interference. Cody beat Gunther. And I'm like,
yeah, that
I was
shouldn't have.
hoping at Crown Jewel that Kevin Owens was going to cost Cody the
Yeah,
win.
or even cost Gunther. Like I don't think he should have.
No, I was hoping he was going to cost Cody the win, and that would have propelled their feud and made sense.
Yep.
But instead, Kevin Owens never showed up, and Cody beats Gunther clean. Just like Liv beat Nia clean. And I'm like, well, no, Nia had it. There was interference in Nia's match. There's a lot of
They
confusion.
they
But
probably
yeah,
didn't want to do interference again to.
yeah, but Cody though, they basically put the stamp on saying, "Yep, Cody's the guy." But like, the Crown Jewel champion isn't a real champion. They
Yeah,
just
you
did it to
don't see the
appease
belt.
Saudi Arabia. No, they you even saw what they did was they keep the belts at Riyadh. They keep them under glass at Riyadh, but they gave the champions a ring that is in the shape of those belts.
Right, because that's yeah.
Yeah,
I
but then that ring has never been mentioned again after week one.
it I
After they
like the
left
fact
Riyadh,
that
it's never been mentioned again.
it to me like I like the fact that you have you have oh it's Crown Jewel, but almost all the fans like yeah I'm only watching it because it's free. I'm not paying for it because it's not in canon. Like
Yeah,
I
it's
when I go to the WWE subreddit, are you watching Crown Jewel? Like nah or yeah maybe, but there
I
doesn't
watch
seem
it
the
because those are good shows, though. The
oh, they
wrestling on those
that's
shows
just it.
are
That they
really good.
people are, and that's generally what people are saying. The shows are great, but because it's not in canon and they don't have time, or they're not
Yeah,
making time to see it, basically is what it boils down to. It's like I'll watch if I have time, but if not, I don't, and then I want to catch Raw or SmackDown the next day
yeah.
or
I just
whatever it
feel
is.
like
Like,
Cody's character didn't need Crown Jewel. Gunther's character could have done so much with Crown Jewel.
yeah,
He would have kept bringing it up. He would have at least kept it alive. He would have mentioned that he's the best of the best of the best, and it just it would have worked so much more.
and the thing is,
They
even if you
Yeah,
had Cody beat Gunther for Crown so that they can do the Crown Jewel Championship, you would
yeah,
at least think that if it was important, either one of them would bring it up again.
yeah, yeah. And another thing is too, like I always thought that WWE is Roman's company. It's been Roman. It was Roman's company for 4 years solid.
Yeah.
But I have never foreseen them being so gung ho Cody Rhodes the way they are. And I am
Oh,
glad.
I'm
I am
surprised.
very glad that they gave Cody the finishing his story. Like, don't get me wrong. I would have never wanted him to not win the title. He deserved to win the big one. It's
Hmm.
just we're a year into it now. Coming WrestleMania in a few months. It's a year. We had 3.5, almost 4 years of Roman as a champion. The word is now that Cody's not losing this either for a while. I originally thought he was going to be chasing it by now. I thought by summertime of his first reign, he'd be chasing it. They're very much going into, he might be champion going into not this WrestleMania, but the following WrestleMania.
I
I think
don't.
that's the wrong move to do
I
because it's
agree.
just too
The thing is,
much
he can be champion going into next WrestleMania. I
as long
just
as
think
he's a heel.
he either needs to be a heel or it needs to be a second or third run.
Yeah. So my whole thing is they've been, and I love how we pivoted to wrestling, but hey, this is
Yeah.
our show. Um, every day, if you wake up and I like to watch Cultaholic. I love Cultaholic.
Hmm.
I'm a junkie for them. Um, but the news changes every fucking day. The Rock's going to be in WrestleMania. The Rock's not going to be in WrestleMania. Today, The Rock's going to be in WrestleMania, but he's really not going to be in WrestleMania. They say reports of The Rock being in WrestleMania, but The Rock's not going to be at WrestleMania. So right now, it has gone from Cody versus The Rock like 30 times to John Cena versus Cody, which is, if you go back to me and Matthew and you, I said that's
Hmm.
the match I want is John Cena versus Cody. If you're going to build John Cena's retirement at WrestleMania, this is it. And they've even built like the merchandise out to say that once you see, after this year, you can't see me anymore. John Cena's gone on record. Now it's a wrestler, so you can't really trust anything they all say. But
Yeah.
he's gone on record saying that this is it. He is not wrestling again after
It's
2025.
it's a drastically different approach
Yes.
than Batista did, where he did his last match and then didn't tell anyone for about a year. Oh no, that was my last match.
Yeah. Where like he is definitely promoting it.
Yeah.
It's an event, it's a journey. In the fairness of it being an event and a journey, I know everyone wants John Cena to put Cody over as the guy. I am in a different canon. I think if you're going to do this, Ric Flair's record needs to be broke by somebody eventually.
Agreed.
Um, and because of a lot, as much as I love Flair, I adore Flair, but he's also caused companies a lot of problematic things over the course of his latter years right now.
Hmm.
There's at least once a year he's always in the headlines for doing something stupid. So I'm like, you know what? He's probably going to do something else stupid, and it could be something really stupid. John Cena's not going to. And if anyone deserves to get number 17, give it to Big Match John.
Hmm.
I say let him beat Cody. It doesn't make Cody any less Cody. What I say is let him beat Cody at Mania for the title if Cody's still the champ. And then I say let them have a rematch for John Cena's very final match. And Cody beats him. That's what I think. Cody can be the
Yeah.
guy beating him going out the window, going out the door, rather, not the window, going out the door.
Yeah.
But I think John deserves to have a cup of coffee with the world title with the title.
No, I think that's fair. I think that's right.
So if they're
I,
gonna go Cody versus John, I'm very much going to be in the camp that I want John to beat Cody
if
for the final championship.
I agree, like I think that if they're going to do Cody versus John in John's last match is WrestleMania,
Yeah.
then and if they want Cody to walk out with a belt at WrestleMania, that's fine. Have him drop beforehand.
Yeah.
Have John beating him be what fully turns him heel, and he comes back and then retires
Yeah.
John Cena.
I think he should turn heel after the match.
Yeah,
I think they should go in face versus face. Cody's with the title. He's all smiles. John's all smiles. It's a great match like you've never seen before. Probably will go down in the annals of history as one of the best. And then afterwards, Cody just fucking loses it and beats the piss out of John.
yeah, agreed.
And I think that would make Cody much more compelling. Because I will tell people who haven't seen Cody Rhodes as a heel, and I'm not talking as a WWE heel. His WWE heel was when he was learning how to be, a wrestler.
Like the New
I'm
Japan stuff.
talking his New Japan and his ROH and TNA stuff. Man, he was an amazing heel. You can see where MJF comes from. MJF is Cody Rhodes.
Mm-hmm.
I realized it the other day. I'm like, my God, he's the Cody Rhodes character, just as MJF. He might have a little more profanity, but he is Cody Rhodes' heel character from those runs. It's crazy. Even the Dynamite Diamond ring is only the ROH ring, where Cody used to make people kneel and kiss the ring before matches.
I had no idea that was a thing, but that makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah, that
Oh, if
makes
you ever
sense.
get a chance to watch some ROH stuff with Cody Rhodes as a heel and Brandy, oh, it's so good. Cody Rhodes was an unlikable dick, dude. There's one promo.
I can see that.
He even gone on record saying he loves being a heel because he's so good at it. Cody Rhodes in one promo. There was a guy who, like, I forget who the guy was, but he was feuding with Cody. But they were all in a faction together. And Brandy's in the middle of the ring. It is the funniest promo. I don't think it would fly now, especially in a WWE audience. Women would probably lose their minds and, sponsors too. But it was a promo where Cody's like, he's like, man, he goes, the wrestler goes to Brandy and Cody goes, guys, I always got your back. I got your number. I always got you. We're family. And Cody looks at Brandy. He goes, you got his number? His number? Of course you do. Because that's what women do. He's like, I should have fucking known. He's like, here I am just trying to be good, and you got his number. Isn't that wonderful? And she starts trying to talk, and he's like, no, you know what? You lost your talking privileges. Go over in the corner. It was like the best promo because he's such a chauvinistic asshole. And that's the Cody I want to see. I want to see the Cody who's dickhead to fans and everything.
Yeah,
Oh my God, I can't wait for it. I can't wait for it. And that's what everyone's been telling everybody. Like, the Undertaker's like, as good as you think Cody Rhodes is now, wait till you see that boy turn heel. He's like, you ain't seen shit yet.
I know. Like, and I think when he turns, it's going to be so good because he's already got that slightly arrogant chauvinist, like
He does
arrogant
now.
feel to him.
Now he does. What I noticed is I think they're building towards it
Yeah,
because it took the chair to beat Kevin Owens at Saturday Night Main Event.
yeah,
Cody took the low road and took the chair while the ref was out. So, where John Cena would never do that. John Cena would throw the chair away. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Cody Rhodes took the chair, and I'm like, oh, the spiral begins.
yeah.
Like
He gave him the crossroads on the chair.
yeah, and that's why Kevin. I love the shirt that says Kevin is right because it's legit.
Yeah,
He's like, I had a referee count from the floor. He's like, that's not even legal. And I thought that too when I watched Saturday Night Main Event live. I'm like, how the fuck is the ref counting outside the ring, slapping the inside the ring, and it's a legit count? Like, it was the dumbest thing I've ever seen. The ref's knees are on the floor, and he's counting them. I was like, what is that? It's so funny. But yeah, dude.
yeah. No, I love when you see that the villain is right. Like we've seen,
Oh,
as we said with Magneto, right? Like there are moments
yeah.
where you empathize with the villain,
Oh, yeah.
especially in fictional media where you can empathize with the villain because they have legitimate points.
Yeah, it's
But,
easy to empathize with the villain in
yeah.
that situation. Like with Cody Rhodes, it's easy to empathize with Kevin. I
Hmm.
love Kevin's like Kevin is right. My favorite thing is I don't know if I sent you it on Instagram. Is Kevin Owens with for the Netflix premiere? He wore a cut off tuxedo shirt, And he fucking went through the office and he's got the winged eagle and he's walking around with it. And my God, people who thought the winged eagle wouldn't look good this day and age on current superstars, how wrong they are because it just looks so good.
It's such a good design.
It's the best title design of all time. It will never
Yeah.
be beat. But he's walking through the office and he's like, "Oh, he's like, yeah, great champions, great champions. Oh, they were great champions. Oh yeah, one of the best of all time. Oh yeah." And then he comes to Cody Rhodes' picture and he goes, "Well, that's just a lot of misinformation there, really." And he goes to the guy's office and he goes, "Are you using this tape?" And the guy goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Great." And he takes the tape off his desk and walks over and pastes Kevin Owens' picture, like head picture, on Cody Rhodes. And he goes, "It's not fixed, but it's a start. It's no longer misinformation." I just think that shit is hilarious. Like he is just, oh, he's just
He's
doing so good.
he's one of the best heels. He really is.
Oh, he is. He is. He's been for years and years and
Yeah.
years though. And I'm glad he resigned. I'm glad that he's not going to AEW because I was very worried he was going to
I
AEW.
I think, like, don't get me wrong, like I obviously enjoy AEW. I think Kevin
Yep.
Owens is great where he is, and
Yeah.
I don't like, again, like, it's not that I don't want him in AEW.
Oh, same. I'd want him at the
It's
top of AEW
it's
though.
that I want him featured at the top of wherever he is, and it's easier for him to be at the top of WWE right
Yeah.
now than in AEW. And I think that, I mean, AEW has a lot of great talent near the top
Oh
of the
yeah.
card.
And
You've got
you know what I don't like
MJF.
though? This bullshit about Adam Copeland now just being called Cope.
I think that's because people are calling him Cope anyway, and
I
so
know.
he's
I just fucking hate it though.
it. I don't get me wrong, like, it's not my favorite,
Just
but
call him Edge. Just fucking
yeah,
call
I
him Edge.
think
Buy the
Edge is,
rights.
yeah, and I think that's the difference, is that people kept calling him Cope anyway. It's like, you know what? Let's just lean into it. If they're gonna call me Cope, I'll be Cope. That's fine.
Yeah. It's
Even
just
like, yeah, it's one of those things where I get it. I understand why they did it. If people are doing it anyway, they lean into it.
yeah.
But if you want a four-letter word to call him because that's what he's used to being,
Yeah.
there's a better one.
Here's the thing. Um, we'll close on AEW.
Yeah,
I am so worried that I'm right on this. I can see the logic booking in Tony Khan's head, who thinks it's brilliant, but we just know it's absolute crap. I have the funniest feeling that Adam Copeland is going to beat Moxley for the title, only to have Christian cash in immediately and become the champion.
honestly, if it hadn't happened with the TNT title on him,
Oh,
I
I
would
think it's going to
I
happen
would think he
again.
was right. But I the thing is,
And I would be so mad at that.
I wouldn't be. I'd be
I'd be I'd be
so the
happy
thing,
for Christian, but I would be
yeah.
livid
So
because
here,
it's just a rehash. That's why I would
and
be mad.
that's why I wouldn't be happy. Like, I wouldn't be happy because it's a rehash. I would be happy because it meant that Darby didn't beat him. I
Yeah.
have nothing against Darby Allen. I don't see
Darby's
Darby
not going to
Allen
beat
as
Mox. No.
that's the rumor is that people think it's going to be Darby. I can't.
No way. Those people are smoking crack.
That's what
It's
I think
never
too.
going to
Like,
happen.
I
Never
can't.
going to
I
happen.
can't see it being Darby because Darby just doesn't have. He's very popular with certain people,
Yeah.
but he just doesn't have the gravitas or the
No,
weight
he
or
doesn't.
the believability of being a champion that someone like
No, not
Swerve
for.
or
Honestly, the
MJF
only
or
one
even
in
Orange
that
Cassidy.
mold, Orange Cassidy's the only one in that mold that I could legit see as a champion.
Mm-hmm.
Legit.
Because
Because he's leveled up so much.
he has beaten Moxley before.
Exactly. He's leveled up so much. Darby
Yeah.
beat? No. No.
The
And the
the
other thing
only
is,
So
yeah,
the only way I could see Darby being champion if he
sorry.
beats someone who gets tired from beating him up, like someone that,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
you know what I mean, like he outlasts them basically. But the thing
yeah.
is with Moxley is that Moxley doesn't seem like the character doesn't get tired,
Moxley's
and
a machine.
that's just it. Like, and if Moxley can't beat you, he just hurts you more and more and more.
Yeah.
So
Moxley comes to the ring bleeding. Like, it's crazy. Like, I watched World's End, and it looked like he had a gunshot at the back of his head. I'm like, what the hell happened to Moxley? Why
I
is he...
think so. I think he cracked his head off the table is what happened there.
Oh,
Like,
man. Did you see
I
it, though? Like, the blood was
yeah,
crazy.
I don't think that was a a bleeding. I think that was a legitimate.
Yeah, a hard open.
Legitimate. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I think it was a hard open. I think that people are. I haven't seen the match yet, but I've heard people
Oh
say
yeah, I watched.
it
Well,
ended. It ended abruptly. It ended abruptly. I'm thinking
yeah,
like, well, if he hard opened the back of
it
his
did end
head,
abruptly. It did end
then
abruptly.
that's probably why. Like, because again, Jay White was involved in the end.
Yeah.
Jay White's really good at seeing, shit, you're injured. You need to take us home quick before you
He's
get.
another one though I can't see as the face. I'm sorry.
I
I,
I
I
I
like him.
see
Can't see him.
I see Jay White as a tweener.
Yeah, I can't. No, not as a face. I meant in the Darby
Oh,
Allin perspective. I can't see him dethroning Mox. He's one I can't see dethroning Mox.
ironically enough, I could see him more than Darby Allin, only
Well,
because Jay
more,
White
but
seems.
only a bit more.
Yeah, only because Jay White seems to have Moxie's number whenever they come across each other. But again, like I think if done right, anything can be believable depending on how it's booked. I just don't want it to be Darby Allin. I think this general silence means Joe just got a phone call. So why don't we call it here? We're about an hour and change into the episode, and we were closing on AEW anyway. So, folks, you know where to find us. You can find us at. Well, shit, it's in the show notes. I'm not going to read it out again. I'm too lazy for that stuff. By this point, you're probably hearing the music play. We will bid you adieu and have a happy new year.
Hey, thanks for watching the previous video from Graphic Policy Television. Just by watching, you help support our site. Thank you so much. Now, if you're watching these videos, you probably care about geeky things like movies, television, comic books, toys, games, video games, you name it. You can go and subscribe right now to our YouTube channel to stay in touch and catch all the new videos, or check out our website at graphicpolicy.com. There's a nice link on this end of the video. But as always, thank you for watching. Keep on rocking and keep it geeky.